Imagine a civilization that was as big as ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia put together. A place with these incredibly well-planned cities, plumbing that was way ahead of its time, and bustling trade routes. Now, imagine that it just vanished, leaving behind a story but with no words we can read. Well, that's what we're diving into today, the lost world of the Indus Valley. And that's the big question, isn't it? It's the central puzzle for anyone studying this. The people of the Indus, who we also call the Harappans, they left behind this beautiful, intricate script, but nobody on Earth can read it. It's a total mystery. So how in the world do we know anything about them at all? Well, the answer is we have to become detectives. The story isn't found in some dusty library translated from ancient texts. Nope. It's told through the patient, careful work of digging up what they left behind, stuff that's been buried for thousands of years. Okay, so let's be really clear about this. Every single thing we're about to talk about, and I mean everything, comes from archaeological digs. The tools, the buildings, the art, the city layouts, these are our only clues. The archaeologists are the ones piecing together this immense, silent history for us. So let's start with our first big set of clues. Their cities. Because this is where the story gets really, really fascinating. I mean, the ruins that have been unearthed show a level of sophistication that is just mind-blowing for the time. We are talking about cities laid out on a grid, like a modern city block. They had complex sanitation and drainage systems. They had a thriving economy. And maybe the wildest part, this was a Bronze Age culture. They did all of this without ever using iron. And you can see this in their different cities. Let's take two of the most famous ones. In Mohenjo-Daro, you find the famous Great Bath, which is this huge public pool. It suggests some kind of communal rituals or activities. But then you go to Lofal, and you find a massive man-made dockyard. It's clear evidence of major maritime trade. So, same civilization, but with different specialized functions. And this variety of clues is what makes the whole picture so incredibly rich. You've got a preserved plowed field in one place, a super advanced water management system in another, a little terracotta model of a plow over here, even an ivory scale, and evidence of unique burial customs over there. Each site gives us another piece of the puzzle. So, okay, the cities were super advanced, but what about the actual people who lived there? What can these silent objects tell us about their day-to-day lives? Well, for one thing, they were expert metalworkers. They used copper, they had gold, and they left behind the earliest evidence of silver being used in India. But look at what's missing from their toolkit. Iron. That's a huge technological marker that really sets them apart from the civilizations that came later. Even something as simple as their pottery tells a story. It wasn't just for holding water. It was often beautifully made and decorated with this really characteristic, vibrant red color. Finding this same style of pottery over such a huge area tells us they had a shared culture and really widespread trade networks. These objects are the real storytellers here. Their utensils, their jewelry, their tools. This is our main source of knowledge about their economy and their daily routines. And here's a pretty amazing fact. They were the first people in India to figure out how to grow cotton and weave it into clothing, a legacy that, continues to this day. All right, let's look at what might be the most fascinating clues of all, the thousands of these tiny, intricate stone seals they left behind. These things are like little windows into their minds. So these seals were carved from stone, and they were probably used in trade, maybe to stamp clay and mark ownership of goods. But what's so cool is the imagery on them. It gives us our best guess at what their symbolic world was like, and it was a world just full of powerful animals. The seals are just teeming with life. We see elephants, rhinos, tigers, sheep, but the most iconic one is the bull, often shown with this incredible strength and detail. It's so clear that these animals were absolutely central to their culture and probably their mythology. But hang on. As you look at this list, you might start to notice that a few animals are, well, they're just not there. Animals that were super important to other ancient cultures in that part of the world. And here it is. This is a major clue for historians. The almost complete absence of the cow, the lion, and especially the horse. That's a huge difference from the later Vedic Aryan culture that came to dominate the region. For them, the horse was absolutely central to everything, to life, to society, to warfare. So the crucial point we can piece together from all their little terracotta figures and seals is that their spiritual life was rich and totally distinct. It seems they worshipped a mother goddess, and also a horned male god that some people think was a very early version of the god Shiva. This is probably the very beginning of idol worship in India.
Okay, let's put all these clues together now. We've got the cities, the metals, the animals, the gods. Let's see what makes this civilization so unique in the grand story of the ancient world.
And this really gets us to the core argument. All the evidence, the incredible urban planning, that unique script, the fact they didn't have iron or horses, it all points to one conclusion. The Indus Valley civilization was a separate, earlier, and fundamentally different culture from the Vedic civilization that came later. And this is exactly why archaeology is so vital. Without a single word we can read, the physical evidence itself allows us to build a historical timeline. The pottery, the metals, the city plans, they prove beyond a doubt that the Harappans came first. But even with all of these amazing clues, our investigation is so far from over. In fact, you could say the biggest mysteries of all are still completely unsolved. We basically have the story's beginning and its middle, but the ending is just a blank page. We still can't read their writing. We don't really understand their society. And the biggest mystery of all, we don't know why. Why, after almost 1,000 years, were these magnificent cities just deserted? Why did their culture just fade away? The story of the Indus really shows us that history isn't just something we read in a book. It's something we are constantly uncovering, piece by piece. It really leaves you wondering, what else is out there, right under our feet, just waiting to be discovered? What other lost worlds are holding on to their secrets?